got more news dropping for Aliens Fireteam Elite 2, and this one is packed with details on endgame rewards, difficulty, and the character progression system. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's get straight into it. My name is James, and welcome to Beyond 426. Starting with some broader gameplay news, difficulty levels have been confirmed, and it sounds like higher difficulties will introduce friendly fire. We're all a bit questioning the potentiality of toggling on and off stuff, but now that has been confirmed, that's going to separate these casual runs from the more serious ones pretty quickly, and I am here for it. The drone in particular is getting some attention as well. You see in this footage here that it actually dodges and actually sneaks up on you, which is a great showcase of the wider AI upgrade the Xenomorphs have received based on what the devs have said to us. We did touch on this in the last video, but seeing it in practice is something else. Combined with the closer quarters and the darker environments, smarter Xenos are going to make this game genuinely threatening in a way that the original sometimes wasn't. And just a quick note on hardware and accessibility as well, before we get into the really exciting stuff. One thing worth flagging here is the footage we're seeing is running on a 5080, which is absolutely not the norm for most players. For anyone on lower spec machines or running Windows 10 with the compatibility concerns that we've seen floating around, it's worth asking whether Cold Iron will consider cloud gaming as an option for those who can't hit the recommended specs. It's something to keep an eye on. And on a slightly different note, for fans of Free League's Alien RPG, they are once again going to have to change the law, because we have our 4-man team, and they had to change it before to a 3-man fire team, and they'll have to change it again to a 4-man fire team. I just found that kind of a little bit funny. Every time this game comes out, they keep changing the fire team numbers. Classes and the specialist endgame system. Now, let's get into what is probably the most talked about topic coming out of this footage, the specialist class and where it sits in the endgame. It's looking very much like the specialist is going to be the universal endgame choice. The reason for that is the specialist can unlock abilities from other classes, which is an enormous amount of flexibility. What we don't know yet is whether you can unlock all abilities from every class or whether there are limitations that keep the dedicated classes viable for certain situations. That distinction matters a lot for build diversity, and I hope Cold Iron are thoughtful about this, because if the specialist can just do everything better, the other classes risk becoming redundant outside of their very specific scenarios. I'm cautiously optimistic that there's a ceiling on this, but we'll have to wait and see. What I will say is that the max level has been confirmed at level 50, up from level 20 in the original. The leveling system in AFE 1 felt like it fell off pretty hard once you hit that cap. The grind didn't really reward you in any kind of substantial way. With 50 levels to climb and a much deeper build system, there's real potential for that loop to feel far more rewarding this time around. Build systems and stats. Speaking of builds, let's talk about what's actually under the hood here, because this is where things get really interesting. Most of the original stats from AFE 1 are back, but there are some new additions worth highlighting. We're now seeing crit chance and crit multiplier in the stat sheet, and when you stack those on top of the weak point damage system that's carried over from the original, the potential for some genuinely ridiculous builds is very real here. That combination alone has me excited to see what the community can come up with post-launch. Perks also appear to work similarly to before. It looks like each perk still needs to be connected to a specific ability or passive, meaning it can't link to more than one at a time. This was one of our wishlist items, and I really hoped that we could do this, but alas. And we've seen a notable change to sidearms. The unlimited ammo pistol from AFE 1 has been replaced with the option to choose and customize your own handgun. This is a super welcome change. The default pistol in the original was functional, but super forgettable and you never really used it, so giving players a customizable sidearm adds another layer to the loadout building. On the consumable side, it looks like we'll have access to meds in our consumable slots, like pain suppressants and adrenaline for on-demand buffs mid-mission. That extra layer of in-the-moment decision making is going to add nicely to the tension, especially on higher difficulties. This one I genuinely do like. It looks like the recon as we know it is gone, replaced by ammo supply kits as the major item option. On the surface, that might disappoint some recon fans, and recon was my most played class in AFE 1, but hear me out here. In the original, you could never go into a higher difficulty mission without a recon on your team. That kind of hard requirement killed build diversity at the top end, and removing that chokehold is a smart design move in my opinion. On top of that, there appears to be a new piercing damage supply kit, and penetration is confirmed as its own stat. My read on this is that those kits and that stat are designed for cutting through multiple enemies in a single volley and armor, so mowing down tight clusters of Xenos with rounds punching straight through targets. If that's the case, that's an incredibly satisfying niche to fill, and I'm looking forward to building around it. Combat rating and weapons, and one more thing worth flagging. Combat ratings in this footage are through the roof. Brock is shown hitting a combat rating of 1,230 with no attachments and unleveled guns. That ceiling is going to be enormous once players start optimizing, and it suggests the endgame build grind is going to have serious depth. And last but not least, the pulse rifle now has a grenade launcher attached. I don't think I need to say much more than that. More gun customization across the board is very welcome, and that particular addition just feels right for the universe, and I know a certain server is going to be very happy about it. There's still plenty we don't have full context on yet, and I'd rather wait for Cold Iron to share more than speculate too far ahead, but what's been shown is shaping up really well. Is there anything in here you spotted that I missed? Drop it in the comments, and let me know what you're most excited about building in AFE 2. Subscribe, like the video, hype it up, share it with your friends if you want to support the channel. I've been James, and I'll see you on the next deployment, Marine.